everybody! I was recently on the R&R show at Rahdo's channel, and we talked about some of our favorite hidden gems. And it got me thinking because these are the games that are not ranked in the top 3,000 at BGG. So what I'm going to do here is my top list of those hidden gems from 2022, but you probably see this chair here, which means I'm not doing it alone, and I'm super excited to have my guest share their top hidden gems from 2022 with you. Okay, welcome back, and like magic, I've got Lewis here, and we have not shared our lists. I haven't seen what his top three, so we have some runners-up, we have some honorable mentions, just in case there's a crossover, because we want to give you each 3 picks from me, 3 picks from Lewis that are wholly unique and that you can hopefully go and dig up, because these are real hidden gems. Yeah, what do you think about hidden gems, the idea, the concept? Like, what does that mean to you?
For me, a hidden gem is a game that is really good, really fun, but for whatever reason, it didn't catch its audience. Maybe the first playthrough when you're learning the rules, you kind of mess up a little bit and it just doesn't sit right with you. Maybe the conditions weren't right. Whatever the case, maybe it's such a new style of game that
it hasn't caught on yet.
Yeah, it just doesn't click for it.
And maybe it's a small publisher too. I know that some games have really small releases and they just don't get out to a lot of people. So that could be another reason why too.
I think that can be it. And small publishers can't always get the flashiest artwork or the best
like advertising campaign too. Like just like, again, getting the word out there. So these are games that we've played that we really, really like. And I have to say, because 2022 is so new, it's so recent, there are some fantastic games that are in the 3,000 range. So what I'm saying is, like, it's 3,000 to 4,000, and technically those are games that we could pick for the hidden gems because we are eliminating the 1 to 3,000. Those are going to be those biggies, those heavy hitters, those ones that people know about. But I still limited myself, and I think you did too, from going into the 3,000. I went back a couple weeks ago, looked at these 2022 games, and since then, they have jumped in the hundreds of spaces forwards down the list, closer to 1.
Somehow,
I think that, you know, these lists are moving, and the numbers are moving where their rank is on BGG. So I just wanted to play it super safe and pick games that were, like, further down the list, but still totally captured me. So.
Okay, good.
We're ready to start our list.
Yeah.
Who's going to go first?
I will.
You will, okay. Liz is going to give us his number 3 hidden gem.
So my number 3 hidden gem is a game that I'm not sure if I pronounce it right, because every time I say it, you correct me.
Oh, no!
It's a game called Damask. Is that right?
Yeah, Damask. Yes,
Damask,
that's it, yeah.
So Damask is a small game. It isn't being talked about by anybody.
No.
But you did a review of it somewhere.
I did the review at Rahdo's channel. I did a preview for its campaign.
So when Kimberly does reviews for games, she has to play them a number of times so that she has kind of an understanding of what it is, and especially if you're teaching how to play it, she really wants to understand it. So we played
Damask.
I want to say Damask. We played Damask. 5 or 6 times. And
with a variety of numbers of players
with 3 players and 2 players, and we tried it in different ways. And it's so fun. It's so fun. You're taking these cards that have patterns, and you're trying to get certain patterns for points. But when you get a card, you have to build it by putting cubes on it, and it wants certain cubes. So maybe it needs red cubes and green cubes and a certain number. And so you also have this circle where you're taking cubes from the circle, and the way you take them is very specific to the game.
Yeah, you start at any point in the circle of cubes, and they're randomly put in. So what you do is you say, I want to start here with this pink one. And you go until you reach another pink cube, and you take everything inside.
Right.
And that's so fascinating.
So cool.
You have to find, like, where's the combination of cubes that I want, and which one's the one that I want the most of, which means you're going to get 2 of.
Right, and as cubes go away, then
the wheel
moves, and that causes new cubes to come in and stuff.
It's an abstract game, by the way.
Super abstract. And I think that might be one of the reasons it's underrated. It's so abstract. No one really... You look at it and you're like, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but it's so fun and clever, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I think it's great, and the ranking is really quite surprisingly low. I do. It's currently ranked at, maybe I have it, 10,608.
Wow.
This game should be so much higher. It's really great. And I think it's that low just because people don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that flashy look. There's not a cool wizard on the cover or whatever.
No.
It's like, you're putting together quilts or something. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you're making these
wallpaper patterns?
textiles.
Textiles.
It's textiles. So it's like woven fabric, like rugs and things.
It just doesn't... And you're the name's hard to figure out. And so I think people have just skipped it because it doesn't immediately jump out at you. And I think it's a real shame. For me, that's a hidden gem. That's very underrated.
I absolutely agree.
So what's your number 3, Kim?
Okay, so I really, really liked your third pick. Now, mine is a cooperative game, and I kickstarted this game, got it, and really couldn't wait to play it because it has a feature that I love. This feature is a dice tower, and the game is The Spill. So The Spill is pandemic-esque, and I did feature this on my channel, but it is currently ranked 5,376. And I think it's just a really, really great cooperative game where players are working together to clean up and save the animals in the ocean, because there's this oil spill, and that's the cube tower, is this place where you drop down cubes and it goes into 4 quadrants, and they are 6-siders, and they go into 1 of 6 spaces in each of the quadrants. And that's how the oil starts to spread and start to fill up and start to pollute and then damage the animal's livelihood and possibility of being saved. And so players are on these boats on the perimeter of this circle, and they are boating around trying to clean up the ocean, get rid of the oil, and save the animals. And they have some really tough challenges that they have to work together to achieve. And I really like it. We played it together.
I love The Spill. It was on my honorable mentions. We played it a few times when you were learning it, but then at Board Game Geek last year, I got to play it with some people. You went and played another game, and I played The Spill, and it had been a few months, and when I got it back on the table, the whole time I just kept thinking, this game's great. This is really good. And so it was good to be reminded. So The Spill, of course, I love The Spill.
And much like Pandemic, it's scalable in its difficulty. So you learn the game, and then you can add harder challenges or easier challenges. And there are special actions that you can take that really save the day. Again, like Pandemic, when you have those special cards that aren't the locations of the cities, they are airdrop, move your boat wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
But I think it actually thematically makes more sense than Pandemic. That was my take on The Spill, was with the oil coming through and being this central feature and spreading. Thematically, with mechanics, makes a whole lot of sense. So
I think if you like Pandemic, you're going to like The Spill.
And you get to play with the same number of characters no matter how many players you have. And I like that feature too, because it really gets all the different folks in there, and there are a lot of people to pick from to get a different combination of characters. Yeah, of course, each one has their own special ability. Yay. So cool. Yeah, so that is my number 3, is The Spill.
Fantastic.
Okay, moving on to 2. What is your 2?
My number 2 is a solo-only game called Batman: The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, okay.
Now, this game, I was surprised it's in it's in the 4,000s. I was surprised that it was ranked so low and it's probably because it's a solo game. But it's gorgeous, it's exciting, it's got kind of a legacy thing where each time you play, you actually mark up the board, and the paths that you create stay from game to game. So it builds up and it plays through these 4 chapters. Really exciting and fun. But the thing that makes the game stand out above all else is this card selection mechanism. What you do on your turn is you draw a number of cards. And you look at them all. And each card has a power, but it also has a penalty. And what you have to do is you have to put some of your cards down as events, and then you get to keep the other cards to play for your powers. So you know what's coming. You know what it's going to say. And when you flip it over, that event penalty plays out. So you can set up your game like, oh, I really don't want to have to face this. Even though the power is not very good, I'm going to keep this card. This card, I think I can deal with this event. And even though it's got a great power. And so it's this really fun selection that happens. And that mechanism, I don't know why that's not in more games. It's so good. It's such a good mechanism.
Yeah.
It is a solo game, but if you're a solo gamer, you're willing to play a game by yourself, I think you're just going to have a great time with it. It's really a good game.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's actually a game that I haven't played.
Right.
So
because I played it by myself.
Yeah, I know. I'll take your word for it. But it does sound really good. Cool. Yeah. Super thematic and spot on for that solo play.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what's your number 2?
Well, my number 2, I forgot. Let me look at my list. Okay, so, So my number 2 is ranked 11,372. It's so high. And I don't know why, but maybe because, again, the theme, much like Damask, doesn't really capture people. It's kind of like, what's that, Smartphone Inc.? I mean, you're like, oh, cool, let's play Smartphone Inc. Well, Smartphone Inc. is actually a really great game.
It is a great game.
It's a fantastic game, but the name, you're like,
That's true. When she first heard about Smartphone Inc., she's like, I don't want to play it, just based on the name.
This game. So this game that I'm talking about, I think has that, like, kind of feel to it. It's called Powerline, and it's by Queen Games. And we don't have a copy of it because we played it at Board Game Geek or Gen Con.
I'm not sure it's been released in America yet.
Oh, is that why?
It could be why.
Okay, well, I really liked it. Like, I liked it so much because it has this really, really cool dice feature. I mean, the dice are really like the focus of the game. But everyone has to use the same set of dice, and they're put out in a particular order. And when you look at these dice, you have to go from one end this direction, or one end this direction, picking the numbers and placing them into your own Powerline grid. And every player has different combinations and routes and goals that they have to do. So every player board is unique. So when you look at the thing in the center, you can't pick the same as everyone else. You can't take the same route. You can't do the same things. And there's this really, really crazy, weird, however many numbers you use means you have to take it away from the opportunities to use that same number of dice from the center. So if I picked 4, I have to check off a space that says 4, and I'm only allowed to take 4 dice on a turn so many times.
Right.
And and then you can't do it again. You have to take 3 or 5 or 2 or 1, and it becomes this crazy puzzle of everybody at the end, the last round or two, everyone's like, I need 3, 5, 2, 6, 6, 4, and nothing else will work. And
in that order.
And in that order, and then someone else next to you is like, no 6s, I can't have any 6s. And it's just exciting, like it's giving me goosebumps thinking about it. And I don't know, it just works. It's a puzzle game, and it's got this really cool dice feature again that I just had so much fun playing.
Yeah, so Powerline came from Queen Games.
Yeah.
Queen Games have some really great games, but they've not always impressed me, and lately they're doing their city games where they're reprinting old titles with new versions. And Powerline, we just saw it at this game convention. This is a reason to go to game convention.
It is, because you check things out of the library, and you're just like, yeah, I could read the rules and get this done. And you have a group of people who are like, sure, I'm game.
Yeah.
And you just kind of play through it.
Powerline's great.
Powerline, what a fun little gem, man. That when I saw that on the list and so high, now I know why, but it should not be. It's a gem for me.
Nice. Very nice.
Okay, are we ready? We're moving on to our number 1.
Oh boy, this is the biggie. Okay, my number 1. So, when I was looking at the Board Game Geek rankings, past 3,000, and I came across this game. I was shocked. I was shocked that it's in 4,000 on.
Oh boy.
It's actually 5,757 currently.
Okay.
It is a game called Inside Job.
Yay.
So I recently played Inside Job. Kim got it.
Yeah,
we recently
I did.
played it. We played it with some friends. It is a 3 to 5 player game, which is, we like a lot of 2-player games and stuff, which is one reason I hadn't bought it earlier.
Yeah. 3 to 5 is a tough sell for us, but it's not impossible.
We do have a game group with...
It's 4 and with 3, but,
right.
But
it's easy for us to sit down with 2. So anyway, we sat down. Inside Job is a game where you're playing... it's a trick-taking game.
Yeah.
You're just playing, a trick-take, hearts or whatever, right? It's that kind of a thing. But each time you play, you have a mission, a goal. And the goal is, if you manage to do this during this trick, then you get a victory point for the team, because you're all working together as agents, working together, trying to get this, accomplish these missions. And so it's a little like The Crew in that sense, except one of the players is a traitor. They're an insider, and they are trying to win 5 tricks before the team accomplishes 7 missions.
And that's with the 4-player game, because it changes slightly for 3 and 5, but that is the goal for that. So you have a set number of, here's how this team wins, which everyone, you're like, I'm on your team. Oh, I'm not the insider. Like, I'm not the werewolf.
Right.
With these hidden roles.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
It was fun.
It's fun to sit there and try to not, when I was the insider, you're trying not to give away that you are hoping to take the tricks.
Yeah.
At the same time, you don't want them to succeed at all their missions, because if they succeed too much before you get your tricks, you lose. You also don't want to give away who you are, because if they can guess, there's a certain point in the game that if they can guess who it is, then the insider loses, which is how we
won.
That's how I get beat, because I'm very obvious. I'm like, oh, I need that trick.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Anyway, it's very simple.
Well, it's also not just trick-taking, but it's hidden roles. And it reminds me of, like, werewolf, and it reminds me of shadow hunters, because there are these advanced cards that let you be a neutral character who can win all on your own, or you can have a souped-up insider, or you can have different goals or objectives for being on the good team, on the agent team. Mm-hmm. And so you can start shuffling in those advanced roles after you've learned the base game. And I think that means that this game has a chance to grow and to be kind of like one of those favorite, party game nights that you can have.
That is exactly why I put it at my number 1. Yeah. Because when I thought about all the games, there's some great games that are underrated. But when I thought about them all, and thought, if we were just sitting around and someone said, hey, do you want to play this? If they said, do you want to play Inside Job? I'd say yes. Like, let's play it right now. And I know I can get a game in 30 minutes. In fact, every time we finish, I'm like, let's play again. Like, I want to go again. Yeah. So it's, for me, a game that's, once people find it. Right. And I resisted. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to play a 3 to 5 player game. And
I saw it's from the same people that brought us The Crew, and I'm like, sold! Even though it is 3 to 5, we do kind of, shy away from that, but boy, was it fun. It was fun. I agree. I think it's a great find.
For me, this kind of replaces The Crew.
Oh.
Yeah, like, I think you're doing the same thing where you're trying to accomplish goals, but I think that what was missing from The Crew was... Like, The Crew's more about how good are you at bridge. Can you read the person across the table and see what they're going to play? Because there's no communication,
verbal communication.
Right. Whereas this, I feel like there's a little more...
Table talk and interaction.
And
there's
play.
Way more.
It feels more playful.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I was having a riot. I always act crazy when I'm an agent. And that means I'm on the good team. And then everyone gets really suspicious of me because I get super chatty.
She always laughs when I give myself away. As soon as she realizes I'm the insider, she goes, aha!
I want to make sure everyone sees it because I don't think everybody can catch that.
She reads me too well. So
it's fun.
Kimberly?
Okay.
What's your number 1 underrated game?
My number 1 hidden gem.
Hidden
gem. Maybe underrated might be part of like the subtext of hidden gems. But I have a problem because my number 1 was Damask. So I am going to have to change my number 1. I do have some really strong hidden gems, but just so you know, My number one was Damask. I think it's great. And for me to pick my favorite hidden gem of 2022 as an abstract game that I just have a prototype version of, yes, I still have the prototype. I don't even have a finished, copy of it, is kind of big, I think. So I wanted to make sure everyone knew that, because I'm not, the hottest, on abstract games. But I think it's a really, really strong one. And I think it's ranked way too low. So my number one replacement, but still such a hidden gem, because it is down at 12,566. I'm really picking these gems. You have to really dig hard to get these suckers.
Those are down there.
But it is Critical Foundation Season 1. And for me, this is just fun. I had a great time as the DM, and what it offers players is a 30 to 40 minute experience doing tabletop role-playing, and the entire world and tension and fights and intrigue and mystery is built into this story that's set in the future. So there's some really cool tech that you're dealing with, some really cool stuff. No spoilers here, but I want to say, as the DM, I had a fantastic guide. The game gives you all the tools necessary to run this experience for up to 4 different players, including yourself. So it can go up to 5 players. And we had a really, really good time. I mean, I had a really good time. Did you have a good time? Because you were one of the characters you played.
No, it was a lot of fun. It's a very simplified version of a role-playing game. And I would argue that if a person is interested in trying out role-playing and they've never done it before, this is a perfect place to start.
Yes.
If you go and buy your Dungeons and Dragons books and you get these 3 books for $50 each, or whatever, it costs $100 for all of them, and you've never played and you're trying to read through a 200-page book,
that can be intimidating.
It can not just be intimidating, it can turn you off. And I feel like this game actually walks you through the steps. It says, okay, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, and it's very simplified, and also it's not a 4-hour game session. You play for 30, 40 minutes, and then you say, okay, that's it for tonight, guys. And it's really a nice, experience.
It does. It felt, whenever I said, and fade to black, because it kind of runs like a TV show, like a TV episode. I sometimes would hear, oh, is that it? What? We're done? And that was exciting, because I thought they were having fun. Yeah. And it balances out fighting with investigation and with social stuff. And so it really balances out. It's not just a fight, punch, 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 shoot guns kind of thing. That is part of it, but it has a really nice balance, a really nice story, and running it was a delight, because I am an inexperienced DM, and that was just a really great just a whole box. It was a nice size, really, really affordable, and there are 9 episodes that you get to play. 9 adventures.
They make a story.
And it has a nice story arc and a wonderful 2-part conclusion or finale. So just a great hidden gem, I think. Yeah. So we had some that we really, really enjoyed, but we also had a couple on our list that we wanted to use, like mine, as backup in case we had an overlap, which we did. So what were some of your extras that you had?
So my big runners-up was Green Team Wins. I'm not a party game person, but boy, I like Green Team Wins. Yeah. It's so fast and clean and just fun, silly fun, really good. Caesar's Empire, which I didn't put in my top 3. Well, it's great, but it's so close to being in the top 3,000 on BGG that it almost is.
It's making its way.
Yeah, it's
going to get there. It'll get there soon.
I have the Spill Power Line. Catherine, the Cities of the Tsarina. I think that game's better than people are giving it credit for. It's pretty fun.
I agree, and I talked about that on my channel too. If you want to see a whole thing on that, go and check out that episode.
And then finally, an abstract 2-player game called Koale. Is that how you say it?
Koale, yeah.
So this is a little stone stepping game, and you play a game in 5 minutes. Yeah. And it's fun.
Yeah. And you should play best 2 out of 3.
At least.
Or 3 out of 5 if you're me, because you can't win 2 out of 3.
No, it's great. It's so fun.
It is.
And
it's
whether
like
I won or lost,
yeah.
it's so fast too.
Is.
You just do a few things. Oh, I guess I lost that game, and I really liked it. So what about you? What were some
those are really great. I had Inside Job and Caesar's Empire on my list. I think Inside Job was really fun. Catherine, the Cities of the Tsarina. I also had First Empires. First Empires is a really small Civ building game, and I think someone made the joke to call it My First Empires. My Little First Empires. Because, everyone did the kind of kids version or the easier version of tougher Civ games or other kinds of games. Mm-hmm. And so I think that was the kind of the joke about that. But it is. It's nice. It's that entry level. It's that kind of just starter Civ game you want to play in 45 minutes. And the rest of these were all in the 3000s. And I kind of, again, limited myself. But I think Fun Facts, Skate Summer, Wormholes, Framework. These are just really good, really good games. Yeah, so nice list. Thanks for tuning in for our favorite Hidden Gems of 2022. 3 each with that really super good one. Now you have to go out and get Damask because we both really liked it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody. Let me know. If you have, go on BGG, do that advanced search, find those 2022 games that are not ranked in the top 3,000, and put yours in the comments below, and I'll check it out. All right, thanks for staying tuned. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Just ask me very naturally, like, what's your number 3? Okay. Wait, give me a second.